So we're here to solve this balance loop puzzle by Grant Fikes. Grant sometimes sends us puzzles with a suggested musical soundtrack. We won't play it for this video, so we don't violate any rules, but if you're interested in playing a song and seeing if you can finish it before the finish, definitely a suggested thing for the 1M64 goal. The 64 clue is also a great place to actually start the solve of this puzzle, and in part that's because the 6, which is going to split into a leg of 3 and another leg of 3, cannot be a leg that comes over to the right through the black 4, and that's because the black 4 will have a 1 plus a 3 as the two sections. This you're seeing we're getting a space where we have a 2 coming off, which would be an imbalanced value for a black clue, which needs to have two different results coming through it. So the 6 comes to the left and down. The 4 is going to have a leg of 1 and 3 going out in these directions. We don't yet know which, but coming back to this left side, this left corner, the 2 has to dodge the cell above. It's got just singletons coming out, which are going to have to move this way. And to avoid self-closure, it's going to come up. The 4 never wants to take a 2-cell long length if it's a black 4. So it needs to take a leg of 3 and a remaining leg of 1. This comes down, we get a singleton. The singleton keeps extending, going to here. These ends still want to stay apart, so we'll have some things to think through there. But the start is very much this turns. In the upright side, we've got a 4 in white, which has 2 legs of 2 that are going to come out from it, and those can't come up or to the right because there's not enough space in the grid. So we're going to come here. We now see that taking 3 off of this black circle would have it turn into the loop, which is no good, so it's going to come down here, and this end is the one that's going to quickly turn. This end turns, and this end turns, and we now have a case where we've got a black that's got a single leg of 1, and its longer leg will be 2 or more, and so it can't be up because there's not enough space, can't be right because we can only take 1 cell, so it's got to take 2 cells or more, and that's got to come down. So we're going to get the other end of the loop going like this, and we've got 2 ends that don't want to touch, so they're going to dodge each self like so. We've got the 4 coming through. We now have to think through some of the other large clues in the grid, and it's very much the case that a clue like the 7 right next to this 4 is going to be pretty constrained. The first thing we can look for is, can the 7 go through the 4? For sure it cannot. It would take 2 cells coming through it, but now we need to place 6 more in the 7, but those have to be all in the same row as the 4 itself, so this is not usable. A 7 is going to be 1 plus 6, or 2 plus 5, or 4 plus 3, but let's at least mark the start of this in and also move around the white. We actually now have this 4 that can't come down, so it comes in these 2 directions, get some more of the loop in this way, get this drawn in. The 7 now has this limit to the top, and it can be a 2 by 5, but that's all that's left for it. Exactly fills in the value of the clue and is otherwise constrained. On this right side, this has to turn in to finish the 4 properly. This turns in, avoids loop closure, comes down. This white in the corner would have an issue if it turned immediately, it would turn into itself. So a white in a corner like this always has to extend at least 2 in each direction. Extending it out, we see it extends 3, so we'll mark those. These loop ends want to keep dodging to stay apart. They come to here, they keep dodging. We get to this space. We've got a black that's needs to be 2 plus 1, and it needs to have a larger leg. This other 3 needs to have a larger leg, which is too long. That comes here, that turns around, and we finish the grid. Just a lot of jumping between white and black clues, some fairly straightforward logic if you think about the longest line lengths and what those interact with, and hopefully something we would have finished in the time it took the Beatles to sing this song. So we'll see you again soon.